about? How are you?
I'm doing great, Mary. It's so good
Nice
to
to
see
say
you. Thank
hi.
you so
Yeah.
much for your patronage.
Oh, yeah, it's nothing. We'll see how it goes. Maybe I can increase it later, you know? So, yeah. It's
Mm.
nice to meet you kind of in person, right?
Hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Where are you in the world?
Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Yeah. Where are you? I forget.
Oregon,
Oh, lovely.
on the other side of the continent.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. There was a teacher, who was kind of expressive writing and was called the Mojo Lab. And she was out of Oregon and was a great, but her husband worked at, what's the park near there? The, is there a park or a forest or a monument? Um, it's a pretty huge historic area.
In Oregon?
Yeah, park wise, where a park ranger would need to be.
I mean, all
Mhm.
over the place. We have
All
state.
over the place.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've never been there, so I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot. Willamette National Forest. There's so many forests here.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Yeah. The reason I came was, quite frankly, to meet you.
Oh, yay.
I
Well,
um
we can just hang out then if you want,
yeah,
but I really want
but
to do this too.
but I don't think I'm the right candidate for this, because but I could be wrong, because my life so far, and I'm 68, uh anything I've ever planned never comes to fruition. There's other things that get in the way, and good things, things that I was supposed to do. So when I'm looking at, uh, the very first thing you say, is there anything that you, or a wish list, you
Hmm.
could do whatever you want. And that's why I don't know if I'm the right person for this. If I'm the only one here, you may want to scrub it. It's up to you. I put live in the moment, enjoy the moment, something up until now I haven't done. And let me tell you, it's not easy. So that's where I am. So I'm probably not the best candidate for this, but I really came to listen and meet you. So,
I
so
think it's for everybody. I don't think
okay. All
that it
right.
is for a certain person. Mostly, so okay, you said you're 68 and everything that you've planned thus far hasn't come to fruition.
Which is fine with me. I've been happy with my life.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, okay, so is there anything, I mean, you can just treat this as like a goal planning session too. So if there is something that, um, okay, first let's just start at the beginning. um, I've been doing this twice a year at least for the last, I don't know, 7 years. So I don't know what your business plans are or your writing goals or your life goals are at this point. I don't think it matters though. I think that this process works for anything. As an entrepreneur, I sometimes will focus on, like, for instance, today, I'm going to focus my planning session on just my author business and actually, that's not even true. I'm really trying to not niche, but okay, a little background on me. I have been editing for 17 years and I work in a bookstore. Prior to that, I was a massage therapist for 7 years. And so I've always been an entrepreneur. I've always liked having my own business. And when I work for other people, it's not as much fun.
Absolutely. Right.
So I have that entrepreneurial spirit. And I really want to grow my author business and I want to publish a lot of books and I want to public speak and teach and coach and and I'm going to be moving to Costa Rica in a
Yeah.
not too distant, well, I'm hoping in 2 years. It might be three. um and when I'm there, and I can't get a job there, so I want to be coaching or editing while I'm there. And and so I have all these plans on how to grow my author business and get more clients and, as you do. But I also work part-time at the bookstore 3 days a week. And I like to keep my nights and evenings for, my family and just doing everything else, social life and cleaning my house and, working in the yard or whatever. So that gives me 2 days a week to shove a full-time author business into the week. And that makes me crazy. I can't do it. There's physically not enough hours. And I'm
Mhm.
constantly having to like lower my expectations, which always feels so terrible to me. Like I'm failing already, even before I start. So sometimes when I do this process, I just focus on like the business, or I just focus. So today I'm just going to focus on what's the like one or two things that I really want to get done before the end of the year, because I keep trying to put too much in my 2 days a week and I don't get my goals accomplished. And so I'm often like, well, disappointed because I'm not getting what I set out done. And that becomes, well, frustrating, but also a little bit demoralizing, like you don't have the confidence to keep going because you think, well, it's not going to work out anyway. Why should I even, that sort of thing. I can get into that negative spiral sometimes. And that's no fun. I like waking up in the morning and being optimistic, and I love my job. I love my life. I want to make more of it, So that's because I know I have that tendency to kind of like pick up spare jobs on the way, or how hard could this be? I'll just add this to my plate too. And I then become overwhelmed at all the things I'm juggling. And so I have to do this process, you know, fairly often so that I can make sure that what I'm doing is actually what I want to be doing and not just stuff I've collected along the way, even if it's under the guise of, for the business. Like, for instance, I love learning. So I buy a lot of courses and I buy a lot of books. And sometimes I don't even take the course, I'm just buying the next course, like, so I get on that like manic spiral of I want to learn, but I only have 2 days a week to do anything in my business. So I need to just say, just delay it a little bit and refocus. And yeah, so that's why I like doing this process, just to make sure that I'm doing what it is that I want to be doing to further my ultimate goals, my intentions. So yeah, so when I sit down to do this, I usually get pretty comfortable. I don't like setting a time limit on myself when I do it, because that to me feels like I'm editing while I'm writing. It just sort of distracts me, and it kind of stunts the process of doing this. I can figure out realistic timing afterwards. But like if you look at the worksheet, it says to write down, when you're brainstorming, to write down like what you want to do and be and see and experience in the next 3 months or in the next year. And that's what I mean by like, I can't think about what do I want to do in the next 3 months, because that becomes the editing process, like, well, I can't do that in 3 months. So what can I do? And then I start thinking too much and I get too much in my head. So this is a way for me to like ground myself a little bit, but also it's kind of a weird difference. It's grounding for me, but it also allows me to just sort of dream and not put any constraints on myself in terms of um um not editing myself. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to tell myself I'm being unrealistic. The very first part of it, and I don't use this form when I'm first starting. I just use a journal or a tablet or notebook or something like that so that I can just mind map, free associate, whatever, just make lists. I like lists. So I just write down things, and I started doing this a little bit ahead of time. Um, and again, just for the rest of the year, I wanted to focus on what I could reasonably do, but still let myself dream. if that makes any sense. Like I really want to finish this and publish this book that I'm working on right now. I'm working on a memoir. I want to finish it this year and get it out by the end of the year and publish it. And I know that that's doable. And um, I'm going to have to like break it down into tiny steps and put it into like, okay, this week I have to get this and this and this done in order for the plan to work. So I know that that's coming, but for this first part, I just want to kind of dream and write down what it is that I want to have happen, in the next 6 months. So would you be willing to do that like right now? Just to take, I mean, usually when I'm by myself, I don't set a timer, but we can take like, I don't know, 5 to 7 minutes or something like that and just sort of
Sure.
write. You want to do that?
Sure.
Okay. So for you, if you don't want to focus on like author business or writing goals or something like that, normally I just sort of, especially at the end of the year, when the new year's starting, I usually just go all out and I'll put travel in there and what I want to do to the yard. And like I just go all over the place. And as a business owner, like kind of our lives bleed into everything else anyway. So that doesn't seem abnormal to me. So that's why I kind of let it all go. So let's set a little timer for like 5 minutes and I'll check back in with you.
Okay.
And I like setting a little candle, set the mood for myself. I'm gonna mute myself, and I don't like to listen to music while I do this because I am more of
Yeah, I
a
don't either.
silent sort of,
Right.
but some people like that. Okay. Did you get some things written down?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. What did you focus on? You don't have to
Well,
say what's on the list if you don't
oh,
want
that's
to,
okay.
but
In fact, this took a huge weight off my shoulders because I've been kind of bashing myself that each week I try and get this done and things come up and I do a part of it or can't get it done. But what I want to do within 3 months is to review and actually do the exercises that are involved. Jeff Elkins offered 2 workshops that I took.
Mhm.
One I actually could attend, but I've never gone back to review it. And the other one on chorus or choir voices I took, but I've never even listened to that. So my goal is to listen and actually do the work in writing a scene that is dialogue centric, and then maybe request that Jeff edit a scene.
Mhm.
Um, the next thing I wanted to do is do the exercises. I have both of Jay's books. I have the scene one, and then the first one on the 3-story method, and the workbook for both. And I've looked at them periodically, but the goal for 3 months would be to actually read them and go through it, and maybe submit to. I don't know if Aaron is the one I'd submit it to, but he's the one that has been moderating, at least the times I've attended, the editors group to critique.
Mhm.
Um,
We all take turns.
oh,
So,
okay, all right. And then the next thing is I've been reading um, participants of our group that write Velas. So I've
mhm.
been reading them for the purpose of enjoying them, but also to learn. So I want to continue doing that and maybe even practice writing one. And then the last thing, I started to write short stories. I have a bunch of short stories, but they need a lot of work, and that was the fourth thing. So that's what I have now.
Cool. So, so, so taking the class, not taking the classes, you've already taken the classes, but writing that dialogue centric scene from the Jeff Elkins class.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's 2 of them. Yeah, I figure between Jeff's dialogue centric and Jay's 3-story method, I may have a shot at being able to learn to write something that I like. So
What do you like to write?
that's the other issue. I thought what do I like to write? What I tend to write is what's classified as women's fiction, but I don't like it because to me it's too much drama, it's sad, it's even though, it all comes out in the end. So I don't know. I started writing a thriller and I got bored with that and now I'm kind of looking at fantasy. I don't know what I'm doing. So it's a great way to practice,
Hmm.
to try and write different things. And it was very interesting when you were talking about how balanced you are, how balanced you are in your creativity and also your ability to actually produce. Where my problem, not a problem, it's just the way I am. I'm a creator. I've created, and everybody's a creator, but I mean, my whole life I've created, I don't know, 6 businesses, a nonprofit. I just can't help myself. So my
It's so
problem is,
fun.
and it's so needed.
Yeah.
So I'm on a mission, I guess. But so my challenge is reeling it in, the creativity, to the point where I can actually be structured enough to do something. And so it's a challenge, but it's fun. And at this point in my life, I'm not concerned about it. I'm just going for the ride. You know, my philosophy of life is that this is a bus stop, and it's a pretty long bus stop right now because my husband's not with me. So I
Mm.
can't wait. Your first thing, what do you want to do? Well, what I want to do is be with him. So my goal for the rest of my life here is to do what I can, to be happy, but also to see if I can enhance other people's um, ability to actualize, be happy and actualize. So that's me in a nutshell. There's not much to me. There's a lot to me, but
There's
not
a
much.
lot to you. There's definitely
Not
a lot
much.
there. I am also a widow,
Oh, okay. All right.
currently married happily,
Right. Good.
but
Good.
yes, I have had, yeah, I've
And
had
you
that
have
experience.
dogs too, right?
I do have dogs. I have 3
Yeah.
dogs.
Oh, wow.
2 are
Yeah.
sleeping in here. I like the old ones that sleep.
Yeah.
My favorite is rescuing like homeless elderly dogs, senior
Yeah.
dogs.
Good.
That's my favorite thing. But my
Good.
husband wants exercise. So he just,
Okay.
last September, we adopted um, a golden or a German Shepherd mix. And she
Okay.
is, we were told she was 3, but I think she was like 1.
So he's getting his exercise, right?
Yes. And the 2, like my oldies are 13. So
Oh,
they're
uh-huh.
the
Mellow and
it's a
yes.
weird,
Yes.
they don't like
Uh-huh.
each other very much.
Okay. All right.
The young one, I mean, she just wants to play. And
Mhm.
the oldie, well, one of my older dogs is a Chihuahua mix. So the
Okay.
size difference is like, oh, he's so mad at her. He just does not like her at all and
Uh-huh.
snarls. And so,
Yeah.
yes. And I have 2 adult children that don't live with me. And
Uh-huh.
yeah, so but back to you. What I wanted to, you didn't say what you liked to read.
Well, I think how can I say? I guess you would have called me an academician years back. I didn't start reading fiction, believe it or not, until 2018.
Okay.
Um,
Well,
so I've had a ball. I didn't even know some of the genres existed, like steampunk and what's the other one? Uh, the one that Shane writes. It's there's a name for it, fantasy, but it's something.
it's an urban fantasy.
Yes, yes. I didn't
Yeah.
even know that existed. I mean, I like them all. What I don't like is what I found out I don't like is what I'm the best at, which of course that what happens is women's fiction. I think it's too close to my work. It's too close. Being a counselor for over 30 years,
Mm.
it's like, oh God, give me some laughter. Give me some, fun. Give me some
So you
uh
could do a light-hearted version of that. I mean, they used to call it chick lit, but just something that's a little more, that's kind of not romance, but just
I have
Um,
to read some of that. It's called Chicklet.
I mean, I don't know if they call it that anymore, but some
Oh,
people like to, it is a mainstream fiction, but it
mhm.
tends to be on the lighter side. Um, that's what I have found. I'm trying to think of, like a title I could come up with that would
Like all of
fall
your
under that.
well-known women, or not women and men, but the ones who write women's fiction, the stories are just beautiful, but they're just too heavy.
Which
They're
one? Who
just,
are you talking about?
oh, I can't think of their names right now, but they're the famous ones.
Like Alice Hoffman or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um,
And I really tried to get
well,
through
don't, I
them, but
mean, the
I
whole
couldn't get into it.
idea for, I mean, if you want to increase your own happiness, like
Oh, yeah,
find
that's why I
stuff
don't
that
bother with
is,
them. Yeah.
yeah, if it's
Hmm.
too dark,
Right.
keep lighthearted. Do you like mysteries, like funny
Yes,
mystery?
I like Louise Penny. I fell in love
Hmm.
with her writing. Um, but I don't have the gaffes and the red herrings and the see, all this is new to me to learn.
Hmm.
Um, and you can't learn it overnight. I mean, in order to be a proficient and helpful counselor, I had to have years of, training and education, and that's the way it is with writing too.
Hmm.
So I think mystery is beyond my. I don't think I'd be well. I certainly wouldn't be able to write as well as Louise Penny, but um, I think the dynamics of that is more structured, and there again, that I don't lean towards structure, so it's a little bit harder. Yeah.
What was the last book you read that you liked, fiction or non? Because you could write nonfiction if you wanted.
Yeah, no, that
Not
that is too close to,
too close
yeah.
to work. Okay.
My husband left a manuscript on how to he finished it the day before he died on how to help counselors help people, and it's like 150,000, and it's in a drawer. I don't even know what I'm going to do with it. But the last one I read, because I raved about, was Jeff Elkins, the
Inside
Inside
Out.
Outside, or
Hmm.
in whatever it was. Yeah, that I raved about, and then the nonfiction was Shane's on the one before How to Plot Your Novel. But I like the How to Plot Great
Okay.
Beginnings, and then How to Plot Your Novel. So there, but I read an awful lot. So there. Oh, and I like Stephen King, his book on writing.
Hmm.
I've never read anything on Stephen King. He scares me. But
Too.
but I really like his book.
Hmm.
And I can identify a lot with, he seems less restrictive, less constraint, less constraining in terms of advice he gives writers,
Hmm.
which is my bailiwick. I need less restraint. I need more freedom. I need more, so it kind of, I just find that interesting.
Um, do you have any like characters in your head?
Oh, I have a lot of characters. The character, it's interesting though, because I seem to write, when I did the women's fiction one, the protagonist, she did have an arch, from not knowing herself to a positive growth arc. The thriller one, for some reason, I've decided this protagonist is going to be steadfast, because of how the community reacts to her. They change, not her. She keeps her values, her morals. She changes a little bit, but I really don't know what I'm doing. So I don't know if it's steadfast or not. And at this point, I'm just having fun. I'm taking the first scene that I wrote and I'm writing it in 3 different genres:
Neat.
paranormal,
Hmm.
paranormal, um, thriller, and then there was another kind of, what I can't remember, urban fantasy. So I'm just fooling around with stuff. I'm playing. I guess it's
Hmm.
the playing. I've been playing for years with writing, I guess, since 2018. I haven't gotten out of the sandbox,
Okay, so back to your goals. You said you wanted to write the scene. You said you wanted to do the scene analysis and to
Right,
read Jay's books.
right. I think
Um,
it's going to give me structure. I need structure. So, and I think I can understand. I understood Jay's book when I started to read it.
the foundations of fiction,
Yeah,
the first
uh-huh.
men. Okay.
Yeah, and the way Jeff taught the first the seminar at least, I understood. It didn't sound like Greek to me, as Greek as some other people.
Mm-hmm.
So I think those two will help me learn how to structure, reel the creativity in. Because I'm even having trouble deciding what genre I want the first three scenes. I'm never going to get a book done. So
That's why I was trying to figure out like, yeah, like what you like to read or,
yeah,
what you
right
think
now,
about and
almost everything, you know, not
um
Westerns, not historic fiction. I can't get into historic fiction. Um, and I've read some of the horror that some of our members have put on, and I can handle that if that's horror, but I can't get into the real dark stuff,
right, I
or
don't like
the
that either.
slice and dice. Yeah.
Do you like romance? Like the sweeter
Well,
romance?
I I I haven't. What I've read just seems kind of. I don't know. I mean, I have a romance in my head as far as what I'd like to write, um, but it's not. I haven't read it. That's what I'll say. I haven't read enough romance. I haven't been interested enough so far to read the romance I need to in order to decide.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why I'm not that interested. I think I've read some samples, and I just think it's silly. It's
Mm-hmm.
silly. You know, I'm looking for mature romance, I guess, or some substance, not
Mm-hmm.
you know, oh, a smile or the cupcake. Or I just I need more than fluff, you know.
Yeah, I would just keep reading and find the thing that sparks
Mhm.
your interest and then find the character and then find the character's flaw and then kind of work through that. I think that's how I mean sometimes I get kind of woo woo and I like pull an oracle card or something and
I've
see
done that,
like
but
I
yeah.
started and stopped several novels before I wrote the one I did, which is women's fiction, a little
Yeah.
on the darker
I
side.
looked at it. Yeah. Uh-huh.
It's a little
Yeah.
darker. It was, processing my grief
Right.
and my memoir is also a grief memoir. So not
Right.
the one I'm writing right now, but anyway, the next part of this process, after I've written down, my little wish list or whatever, then that's when I feel like, okay, I'm going to um, figure out what I can do when. Is this a 3-month goal? Could this be, do I want to accomplish this in 1 year? That sort of thing. And it sounds like you started to do that. For
Mhm.
instance, let's see, where's mine? Let's just have that page open. Here it is. My big fat one is to finish the memoir. And so I've got like 6 months to do that in. And I'm in the final like editing stages and I'm turning it into my editor October 1st. So I even have less time to get it done. I only
Uh,
have like 6 weeks really, right? No, 2 months,
2 months.
2.5 months. Yeah. So before I turn it into her, I'm going to use Kath Reese from our
Oh,
community. Yeah. So
right.
she's going to
I
line
I
edit it.
listened to her podcast. I read one of her books. So
Um, let's see what else. Oh, so that is going to be so another thing I do on this worksheet is I usually don't do I change this around. So I usually don't write down anything lifetime. That seems a little I changed that to 1 month.
oh, okay. That's nice. Okay.
I think a lifetime goal is not a goal. It's not, I can have an intention, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't set a lifetime goal.
Bucket
So
list,
yeah. So then that changes to, I have 1 month, 3 months,
Mhm.
and then I like doing a 6-month one.
Oh, that makes sense. Do
Sometimes I
that
do
instead of the year or
well,
do that?
sometimes I do 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 3 years. Sometimes I do the 1 month, but I got to be really inspired to do something in 1 month. Like that's really not a lot of time to get. I mean, you can
Mhm.
get one step of something done. So
Mhm.
I guess it just depends on what goals I'm looking for. So, so maybe I'll change that to, maybe I'll make that 6 months actually. So I'll do for myself, I'm going to do 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 3 years. That's what I'm going to do. So then when I look at my list that I came up with in the last 5 minutes here, I have too many things on here. um, but if I do, there is a 3-year goal here. So, okay. So under my 1 year, I'm going to, well, no, 6 months. So under my 6 months, I'm going to say published memoir. So I'm now writing this on this sheet, taking my messy
Okay.
list here.
Mhm.
And now I'm writing it nice and tidy. Publish memoir under the 6 month. So for yours, you said you wanted to you wanted to read. Let's see, you've got short stories, serial fiction, scene
Right.
analysis, read Jay's books, and write a dialogue scene.
So for me, and you might think this is not a good idea and tell me, I was just gonna, what I don't get done in 3 months, move it to 6 months. What I don't get done in 6 months.
Yes, that's what
Okay.
you have to readjust as you go,
Right.
because life
Right.
happens and you don't get things accomplished in the
No.
time frame that sometimes you do, sometimes you don't.
Right.
So yeah, you can, I mean, I don't know you or your lifestyle or how fast you work or whatever, but I could see let's see, are you doing a 3-month goal at this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
3 months, I'm gonna shoot for that. Right now, I have my counseling practice, but my main time sapper right now, which I'm fine with, is I've got 3 animals heading to heaven.
Mm,
So they take a lot of care. It takes me
they
about
do.
4 hours in the morning to do all their medications, to do
Hmm.
their exercises, to do everything. So in one way, it's good because I'm forced when I have 10 minutes, I take the 10 minutes.
Hmm.
Now it gets me frustrated because I lose my train of thought and all that jazz, but at least it's showing me that, darn it, when I don't have what I have now, I may actually be able to sit and write for a couple hours.
Yes, that's a positive spin on it.
Because I'm not, these will be it, the 3
Yeah,
remaining.
hospice.
So
We had 2. Yeah, during the pandemic, we lost 2.
yeah,
We had 2 that were
yeah. Mhm.
Banjo was 16 and a
Oh, I love that
half.
name. I love that
Banjo, yeah.
name.
He was
Oh,
a
yeah.
German Shepherd Husky mix. He was 16 and a
Oh,
half
that's
and a
nice.
big dog.
Wow. Wow.
So he was, and then Casey Jones, he was
Oh, I love that name
just a
too.
mutt of
Uh-huh.
everything. He
Uh-huh.
had everything in him. Nobody could figure out what he was, even the vets. Um, he just looked like, when you see those camera shots where it's taking a picture of like 80 different faces and they're all kind of super, that's what he looked like. It was just
Oh,
amalgamation of every dog possible.
uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And I think he was 14 and a half
Wow.
or
It's because they're
something.
mixes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mixes live longer, you know, because the
Yes.
genes are all mixed up. I have
Hmm.
purebred and that's the problem. So yeah.
So, in terms of your 3-month goal, do you think you could, with confidence, ease, and grace, finish reading one of Jay's books?
Yes. I really want to get to the scenes one, but the other book is really good. And my challenge is when I read his books, I can't just read through it. I have to sit and look up the references, and I have to, do the practice. And so it takes me years, not years, but it takes me a long time to finish the book. So
Mhm.
yeah, I do. I want to get to the scenes one, but I also want to finish the first one.
How far into did you read the first one already and you're just going back through it again, or?
I read a half of it, and I don't know why, but this time I started from the back going forward. I don't know, maybe I thought I needed to change, and I really like that.
There's a lot of additional content in the
Mhm.
back of that book.
Right, I
And
know.
some of it was really interesting, but
Yes.
it doesn't really have to do with the
No,
the process, so
right.
you
That's
could
my problem.
you don't have to read it, you
I
could
know.
just read the book and
I,
then not have to finish, you know what I mean?
and that's my challenge. I get waylaid on all this stuff that is just so amazing. I go, oh, oh, oh,
So it sounds
yeah,
like focusing,
yes.
maybe some accountability,
Yeah,
I'll check in
yeah.
with you. Did you read? Did you read? Did you read? In a nice way.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay, so you're
that's,
gonna read you're gonna finish reading Foundations of Fiction.
yes, yes.
Um,
And also the first one of Jeff's, I'd like to get both done, but if I can just do the work of the first one of the centric writing, I'll be happy.
he wrote a book, or are you talking about the
No,
class?
the 2 workshops he did. If I can
Okay.
get the first one, go through it and actually do the work that's needed in order to write a dialogue centric scene.
Okay. So is it a whole course? Like you do one
Yes.
modular and you do the homework and then
Well,
you do
it
the,
was 4 hours. It was 4 hours,
okay.
and there was a lot. He they both him he and Laura
Mhm.
did the presentation. It was fantastic. But it's
Okay.
something that you have to review. I
Yeah,
mean, you
yeah.
can't get, you know, and you have to have the sheets in front of you, which you can download, and then you can figure. And then he did one on multiple voices, which I have a lot of voices in this story if I keep it. Calls it a choir. I think it's
Uh-huh.
a choir, more than 2. So that one sounds interesting. But as you said, you sign up for workshops and you find out you don't take it. Well, I have to get better at that. I try not to sign up for any until I do.
Okay. So let's pick one.
It's the first one, the one on the dialogue center.
Okay. So, and are there natural stopping places? You don't have to listen to all 4 hours all at
Oh
once.
no, I can stop where, yeah, you stop wherever. Uh-huh.
Okay. All right. So finishing the dialogue doctor class or retaking it and going and doing the homework,
Mhm. Right.
the workshopping part, right? Okay.
Right, to write a
And
scene. I wanna write a scene using that.
can you write the scene while you're taking the class, or do you have to do the whole class and then the scene is written? Or I'm not sure
I
how it's.
can, after I learn something, a portion of it, like when he talks about, I think what he talks about now, but, no, I can after he talks about it, then you could go through it and do that portion of it. And then you can push play again, and there's another aspect of voice, you
Okay.
know, whether it's body language, whether it's pace, so you can stop all
Can you
along
do
those.
this like 1 hour a week for 1 month and then and the subsequent work too? So could you do dialogue doctor that first course and write that scene in 1 month
In
and
one
just
month.
and just
I,
break it up, 1 hour a week with your coaching practice, your counseling practice and the dog care and
well,
stuff.
I think I could do more than, I think I have to do more than 1 hour. I'm going to forget what I learned. It's
Okay.
got to be continuity,
Okay.
or else I'll have to go back. That's what happened with Jay's book. I had read half of it, and then I went, and then I had to go back and read it again,
Okay.
because it's all new stuff,
Mm-hmm.
for
Okay.
me.
All right. So yeah, let's move our let's move our list into its rightful places. Like I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do in 3 months. I think I am going to do a 1 month goal too. 1 month.
I'm going to stick with
I am going to create an action plan, a giant master checklist for publishing this memoir, all of the things I still
Good.
need to do. One of the things I really wanted to do was re-engage my mailing list too, because I've totally fallen off the planet on that one. So maybe I'll make that a 3-month goal. Re-engage mailing list. And in 1 year, I have this book that I wrote like 2 years ago, and it's really small. And so I never published it because it just didn't feel like there was enough of a book there to publish. And I didn't want to pad it with unnecessary stuff to make it bigger. So I think what I'm going to end up doing is putting it for free on my website as a loss leader, to collect mailing, to get to emails.
That's great.
Or maybe I can't decide if I'm going to do that or if I'm just going to make it like a free first in series. It's a nonfiction book. So maybe I could just make it free everywhere because it's so little anyways, but
That's nice, though.
it's on goal planning and strategic planning and goal setting.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to say publish that goal setting book in the 1 year goal. And also in addition to that, in 1 year, I want to plot out a how to write a memoir book. So I'm not writing it. I'm just going to plot it out in the next year anyways. And then in 6 months, I also want to put up a new author website. I have an author website, but it's on a platform that I don't know how to use. My friend, set it up for me, and I just want a Squarespace. That's super easy. I just want to make it Squarespace. Okay. So that is what I'm going to do for mine. And then within 3 years, I want to have all my books available in audio. So those are my goals on the little worksheet. Did you want to plan out anything more further away than 3 months, or are you kind of
No,
you just want to?
yeah, if I could get these done, even some in 3 and some in 6, I'd be happy.
Yeah. You could, do you have a dedicated reading time during the day?
It's whenever I'm able to do it,
Okay.
with my schedule.
All right, cool. So, after I put this in the little mind mappy looking worksheet, then I go through, and because I did kind of a sparse, I made this be about just one thing in my life. Usually I've got like 3 to 6 items in every time slot. Like I will have like 3 to 6 goals in 3 months and 6 months and 1 year. So I go through and I prioritize. I don't like that word. It has a lot of negative baggage for me. So I just pick the one thing that would make the most difference in my life, mentally, emotionally, physically, whatever, or just something that I'm super interested in, or something that's really guiding me to this one thing. So, and circle that. But since I was very sparse in this particular planning session, I don't really have that issue. It is pretty much like, okay, this is the one thing I'm going to work on in the next 3 months. And this is the one thing I'm going to work on in the next month. So that one's kind of already done. For you, since you do have a longer list, um, I think we kind of already talked through the thing that was most on your mind was that first
The dialogue centric,
dialogue
and then
workshop
Jay's,
and Jay's foundation book. Okay.
right, and the scene book,
Yeah, you'd be writing the scene
right.
as you
Well,
were working
and
on
his
Jay.
second book, Jay's second book, the scene, writing
So
scene,
that's 2 books and a
right.
workshop in 3 months. Does that sound like you can accomplish all of those in 3 months?
No, but I'm gonna keep it under 3.
Fair enough.
You're right. No, you are right. I'll see when I have to roll over to the 6, you know?
Yeah, I went to a life coach once, and his key phrase I keep in my mind, and that is, can you do this with confidence, ease, and grace? And if I can't, then I just don't have enough. I need to push it out, and there's no shame in
Uh-huh,
that because I want to have a confident, easeful, graceful life. So if that's my
right,
goal, then I can't shove this all in this time
right,
frame.
right.
So then, the part that gets me really excited in this process is, yes, this is all the free flowing planning, like, oh, creative part of it. And now here's the structure. Here's the structure that helps me stay focused and actually get things done. So take one of these things, whatever you want to pick, and we're going to do that little, that's your game changer. I like this. I use passion planners. I don't know. I
Mhm,
love them so much. And
mhm.
I'm one of the ambassadors. I've been using them for years and years and years. So I can get
Uh-huh,
you a discount if you want,
okay.
but you don't have to. I just use their terminology. So that game
Mhm.
changer, the thing, just pick one. And let's see what I'm going to do for mine just for fun is I'll do that 1 month goal, which is to create that master action plan. So that's what I'm picking. What are you picking?
I'm picking the workshop on
Okay.
dialogue centric.
Okay. So now, um, I know it seems like there aren't any steps to that, but there really are. It's not
Oh,
just
yeah,
watch,
right. You're
so what
right.
are all of the steps that you can think of that you would need to do? Whether that's like find the file on your computer, like make these baby steps, find the
Mhm,
file, get the
mhm,
pens and the notebooks
mhm.
out,
Right, right,
set aside time to do it or
right.
whatever.
Good
Like, so
idea.
let's
Mhm.
take a minute and just kind of come up with our all the steps that are needed. Okay, did you do that?
I did.
Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I had 5 steps that I came up with. And if you didn't already, mark which ones go in order. I mean, mine kind of sort of fell into that order, but if there's a so because this is my 1 month goal, I'm going to kind of fudge it and just say by the end of August, I'm going to have this accomplished. And I'm really hoping it'll be before then. I'll probably just, bang it out one weekend or something, but 20, 31st. So the first thing that is on my list is setting aside time in my planner to do this. So I'm going to go actually in my planner right now and look and see where I can set aside time just to brainstorm this list. So what's the first thing on your list?
I put up set up uninterrupted time.
So that requires going through your schedule and looking at when that time would be.
Somewhat, it's primarily, it's going to change every day because, and sometimes every hour because the needs of the lives I'm taking care of right now,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So it's kind of on the QT. I try and plan, but it doesn't work.
Do you have blocks of time where you can do it, or is it more like a slip it in?
it's when they're sleeping, when they don't need me, when I'm not counseling. So it's like, I sometimes I do get more than 20 minutes.
Mhm.
Sometimes I can take an hour, but the problem is when I normally can take it, I'm dead tired. So then I have,
Yeah, totally.
caregiving is tough, as you
It
know.
is.
So, it's, but at least my goal is to optimally have uninterrupted time.
So how when you plan your coaching, I keep saying coaching,
Counseling,
counseling
that's all right.
clients,
Mhm.
when you plan that out, is there any time that you like sit and look at your calendar? Like do you like plan out your week? Not
Can't
plan,
right
but I
now
mean,
because, yeah,
not
I
plan,
need,
I guess, look and
yeah.
see like when your clients are so that you know, or is that like a daily thing that you do? Like, okay, what am I doing today? And you look at who's on the docket.
It's daily right now,
Okay.
and it all centers around the kids. So
Yeah.
my counseling clients, kind of take a back seat. They're happy to. They'll do when I'm available,
Okay.
but so it's a yeah, it's just ridiculous for me to plan. I'm trying to get enough sleep. So
When you get up in the morning, you take care of the animals,
takes about four
and it
hours.
takes about 4 hours.
Hmm.
Do you have time before you start that process to kind of just look at your daily planner, like your just what's coming up that day?
Yeah, I know what clients I have in the afternoon and the evening,
Okay.
but I
So
don't look at it for writing. you know,
that's fine. That's fine. I just
yeah,
meant like
yeah,
whenever it is that you look at your calendar that
right,
first moment,
yeah, hmm,
can you also see, okay, I've got a client at 1 and at 3,
hmm,
so I'm going to, use this tiny little spot here just to look at my week and figure out when or day or, when you can just slip in this first step.
yeah. Valerie, it is on my mind. Other than the kids and counseling, this is third writing. So
Mhm.
it really is always with me.
Mhm.
But I think um, your suggestion is good. If I can just attend to it a little bit more,
Mhm.
what you're suggesting, to look at it and see, that would help me.
Yeah, sometimes I find that if something stays on my to-do list for a week or 2
Hmm,
weeks longer than I think it should or whatever, if
hmm,
if it's still there and I keep moving it forward and moving it forward, there's 2 things that I've discovered for myself that means. Either I don't wanna do it. So I either just ditch it and
hmm,
tell myself I don't need to do it, or I delegate it, get someone else
hmm,
to do it, or
hmm,
just do it and get it out of the way and
hmm.
just make that decision to do, or it's not a small enough step and I have to break it down even smaller. Like
It's a good point.
do the taxes is way too big of a step.
Hmm.
Like I can't do the taxes. So usually it's like find all the statements. And that's what I do for a whole week.
Right,
That's all my
right.
plan is just find all the statements. And then the next week I can do the next step, which is,
Hmm,
add up all the income or something like that. Like break it down into tiny micro steps because I
hmm,
hate doing the taxes and I put it
hmm,
off till the very last minute.
hmm.
So, so
Right.
that might help a little bit.
Well, your transferable skills, because that's how I do I think that's probably how everybody does their taxes, but I need to transfer that skill into the writing,
All
but
right.
that's good, being conscious of it. Thank you.
So, let's see.
I'm going
I
to
think
have to go.
that's it. I think that is the a whole process. That's what I do. And then I just repeat it. So the next time I'm like, all right, what do I want to focus on this month? Oh, it's going to be this part of you know, for you, it'll be, finishing the next course or something like that. So once you've finished something, then you make a little action plan for the next thing, find a spot for that in your planner, and set
Mhm. Well,
I
this is,
I like due dates, but I remember that they're self-imposed. So I try not to stress out about it, but I do have a plan of like, okay, I want this to be done in 3 months.
Mhm.
I know you have to go, so I will
Oh,
wrap this up. It's been so lovely meeting you and
it-
talking with you, and I
it's
hope
been
this is useful.
fascinating. It is. And I wrote a lot of notes and I had no idea if it would help, but it has. And thank you for taking the time, Valerie.
Yeah, it was really great.
Yeah.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much for becoming a patron, and I'll
Oh,
see you
no
around.
problem. Take care. Have a nice
You too.
weekend.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.